Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and today I got a really special guest. I have Dave Cicotte from Brew Detroit. Dave, thanks so much for coming on and giving me some of your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sean. Appreciate it.
No problem. Can you tell us a little bit about, first off, for the uninitiated, can you tell us a little bit about Brew Detroit?
Sure. Brew Detroit started back in 2012, 2013. Early process was 2012, but it wasn't until about 2013 where we actually started doing a lot of our contract brewing stuff, which is what most people know that we do. So right around that time, up until 2016, it was basically just that. It was contract brewing. But in 2016, we opened the tap room in Corktown, attached to the brewery, to where we were bringing in our own beers that we did back on the Nano. A lot of them really small batch stuff. Back then, we didn't have the system that we have now, even as our fermentation and bright tanks go back there. It was much smaller even back then, which is only 4 years ago now. So, and then in 2018 is when people started to see the Brew Detroit brand beers coming out, like Cerveza Del Rey, Cornerman Red Ale, and at that time we had Operation Pluot, which we don't make anymore, and then we also had Electro Brute, which is our brewed IPA, which we also don't do anymore. But it was until that time that we actually started pushing out our own stuff. So that's pretty much the really quick and dirty history of Brew Detroit.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I think is really interesting about you guys that I don't know if a lot of people necessarily know, but like you just mentioned, you don't only do your own stuff on a nano system, but you also produce your contract brew house. So you also produce beer for other places. And that's what I think is really unique. And the reason I have Dave on today is just to kind of talk about the coronavirus situation, COVID-19. And I guess one of the questions I have for you is, how is COVID-19, the whole coronavirus situation, how is that affecting you guys in particular? Because you are, you do produce your own beer and you have, your contract brew house as well. How much does that affect you on, because you're kind of dealing with it on both ends, right? You're not only dealing with it on the contract side, but also on the, on your own system.
Yeah. Contract side, we're still doing all the brews that I'm aware of that we're still on schedule. There may be a couple that got pushed off to another time. But the other day, yesterday, I was actually at the brewery and we were packaging. So we do have our line working. We do have our brewers still working. There's still beer in the tanks. There's still beer being brewed. So it is definitely slowed down a little bit. But we are still operational at this point as far as the contract brewing side goes. As far as the Brew Detroit side goes, we are still also operational. A lot of stuff is happening from the home. A lot of calls to clients in stores, and communicating with M4, our distributor, to make sure they have what they need to be able to go out there and sell stuff, and just kind of communicating what's coming down the line, because we do have beer that are in tanks right now that needs to get packaged. And we still have releases that are coming up. And thankfully, we were able to get into some grocery stores. We're in a pretty good amount of them. Westbourne Market, a lot of the smaller ones, for instance. We're also in Plum Market is one of the other grocery stores that we're in. Save More Drugs. So a lot of the essential places that are open. And thankfully, we were able to get into Kroger stores as well. Meijer is also on that list. However, due to the situation, they are kind of holding off a little bit on bringing that stuff in. But we are still going forward, and we will have product in Meijer eventually. It's just when they say go, we will go. At this point, Kroger, we were able to bring our stuff in what are called craft stacks, which basically we submit which beers we think they will take, and they go through an approval process. And once they are approved, we can go in like a normal account and go and try to sell them on those beers, rather than a set amount that the store is going to take for sure. So it's still like going into a new account and selling them on a new beer. So it's not a guarantee that each Kroger will take what we're selling them. We can basically just say, here's what we have. Will you please take it at this point? So
So it's kind of like a trial run almost with some of the stores, to see what sells, and then they purchase, based on how sales are going. Is that how it works?
Well, they'll bring in like what is it? There's a Kroger store. Blanking off the top of my head right now, but there's a Kroger store that just took 50 cases of different of various Brew Detroit beer. Cornerman, Cerveza del Rey, our new session, Bring Out Your Dead, and then they just also brought in the new Pineapple Cloud 19. Yeah, yes, sir. There it is.
Yeah, I'm actually drinking one right now.
Pineapple Cloud 19. So
Oh, nice.
they brought that in. So they are definitely helping us move product. People are buying it, which is amazing. That's the other thing that we really appreciate, not just at Brew Detroit, but I know a lot of the other small breweries that are operational and have distribution or are doing their to-go stuff, curbside, or even the breweries that have food. The people who are supporting their communities in the smaller breweries, it's really impressive and heartwarming, to be honest.
Yeah, so it sounds like, one of the questions I was going to have for you is, how has distribution has it slowed down? I'm like you mentioned some of the stores that you're in now, and I know Kroger is like a really big one. At least to your knowledge, has it slowed down, or is it still kind of pretty steady?
No, to be honest, it's still pretty steady. I mean, obviously the huge hit is not being able to get draft into the bars and restaurants. Some of these stores do have their crawler filling stations or growler filling stations that they can bring in some draft, but that's what we're unable to move at this point right now, mostly. But we're still going pretty strong. I mean, we're able to communicate with M4, and they're doing a tremendous job of making sure that the product is getting out there as best as they can. There are a lot of stores that, I mean, everybody's inside right now. People get out when they can get out. And to be honest with you, I think when they are going out, they're not doing it very often, which is totally understandable, and they should be doing that. So they're grabbing as much as they can then. And that way they can sit on it for a little bit and enjoy it for the next couple of weeks or however long they plan on being inside.
That's pretty cool to hear that it's still steady, at least for the time. That's good news. And I know, like you said, a lot of people aren't really leaving. I know I haven't I haven't left since last Wednesday or so. So it's been a little bit. I mean, bike rides here and there, but
right.
So of course, you're gonna go crazy, cabin fever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So with the tap room being closed, have you guys noticed that a big bite? And I know that you said that draft, obviously you sell your beer to other, bars or places that serve beer. Have you, with the tasting room being closed, with the tap room being closed, have you noticed that that's taken a big chunk, or have you been able to make up for it with curbside, or is it still kind of, could be better, but it's still sustainable?
Yeah, it definitely could be better. It's doing it's actually doing a little bit better than we expected it to go for us, to where we had a goal in mind for each week of what the number that we should hit, and last week we pretty much doubled that, but that was before our obvious shelter in place that we have going on right now. So we still are doing business. Like I said, I went to the brewery yesterday, and I did a quick dry run on delivery just for my neighborhood to see how it would go. And we filled quite a few crawler cans of our draft stuff to be able to not only take to my neighborhood for the few orders that I got from that, but there were also people who call ahead, and we can it then, and they will come to the basically just outside our parking lot and pick it up. And there are quite a few that people are still ordering that, and we blew one keg yesterday. I don't know how full it was at the time, but when I pulled the handle back, it blew, and it was actually kind of a warm, fuzzy feeling that I was like, "Oh, we just blew a keg, cool." So
yeah, always a good sign. I mean, not always a good sign, but in this case, a good sign
for sure. Yeah.
So from what it sounds like, the available purchasing options right now there aren't any online sales, but if they call, if someone watching this wanted to pick up beer from Brew Detroit, they could call, put in an order curbside. They put the order in, see what's available on your website. Actually, you have what's available on there.
Yep.
And I was noticing when I looked, I mean, it was really impressive. There were like about 6 different 4-packs and countless, probably 20 plus different beers that you could get a 24.5 ounce can full of. I was really kind of impressed, to be honest, that there was that much of a selection. I know, I've been in your tap room before, and it's always, it's really nice to see that many beers available, but it's really kind of, again, heartwarming a little bit to see that that much stuff is available, to call it for curbside.
Yeah. Eric, it's really unfortunate that it happened. I mean, it's unfortunate it happened at all, but Eric had a lot of really delicious beers that we did release, like his raspberry cocoa nib. He's calling it, it's like a lactose sour, milkshake sour. That is fantastic. So people have been picking that one up, and it's been pretty well received as far as what we can get out there. That's the only way people can get it right now is if they come to the tap room and order a what we call our big ass cans of framboise maléfique, which translates to evil raspberry in French. So it was originally brewed for the March du Nez Rouge, but as we all know, that's had to get canceled given our situation right now. So that was going to be a pretty gigantic event. We were partnering up with 8 Degrees Plato for that one. So we were really looking forward to it. Beer was still made. Unfortunately, we couldn't have the event for everybody to enjoy it. So
yeah, I was going to let you say that it's a big ass can. So
yeah, yep. Says it on there.
Yeah, if any Belgian fans out there, I was also really happy to see that you guys had a Grand Cru available. Yep. So that was pretty cool to see, because that's like a style that doesn't seem like a whole lot of people are doing lately. Obviously, a lot of Belgian styles, triples, doubles, stuff like that. But Grand Crus kind of seem like I'm sure they're really not super easy to make, so I can understand. But there hasn't been a really quality Grand Cru, at least available in this area, I think, for a while. Obviously, somebody like Dragon Mead makes it, but it was it was just nice to see that you guys had one of those available.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. Eric is a really young brewer. He's the head innovative brewer. He's the one who runs our nano system. And a lot of the beers that we have right now that go into packaging start off on the nano system. And then if they sell well in the tap room, then we usually scale up. And Eric's recipes go into our big system where it goes into 100 or 200 barrel batch from a 10 barrel batch. So it's a really quick turnaround, and we scale up really quickly. And we know that we have an advantage that a lot of breweries don't have. So I'm really thankful that we're able to do really fun stuff and turn it on very quickly, and that we also have the network, all the buyers and our distributor that can move the stuff and get it to the people that quickly.
Yeah, it sounds really cool that you can kind of you can basically use your tap room when this whole thing isn't going on, but you can use your tap room as like a testing ground, market research basically, and see how well it sells. And if it sells really well, you can scale it up. That just sounds like a really nice way to kind of do it, not always necessarily kind of, throwing darts to try and see if you can hit a target. So that's a nice advantage that you guys have.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did with Cloud19. That was Eric's first beer. That was his recipe that we sat on. It was last February that we released it in a really small batch. It was only like a 4-barrel batch in the tap room, and maybe even a 2-barrel. Either way, whatever it was, we were out of it. We released it on a Thursday. We're closed on Monday, and it was gone by Tuesday. Everything that we had. Wow. So we're like, oh shit, okay. All right, that's a good one. So
that's a good sign.
We'll do it again. We'll do a little bit more. So I think we went up to like an 8-barrel, and then almost the same thing happened. We sent a few of them out to M4 to see what they could throw out there and get out there, and it was pre-sold and gone before they even got it in their hands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, cool. We're gonna do a 10-barrel batch next month or in the next couple of weeks, so we have more. And so it was like January or February through like August. We were like, okay, in August we made the decision that we were actually going to scale it up. Maybe it was June, because we had to release a big ass cans of Cloud19 and Blackberry Cloud19 at the brewery. And that was kind of like the test run, like how is this going to go in the market? Because if people want these cans, then we can say absolutely yes, let's do it. So that party happened in July. And then it's June, July, August. August is when we pushed it out and started pushing it out to the masses in 16-ounce 4-packs of both the blackberry and the regular. And now that it went so well, it's a year-round beer for us. And
Oh, nice.
we did the first variant, pineapple, that is on the market now. And we will do another variant. This one was a surprise. Like if you go back and we posted our calendar a while back, we weren't
Mhm.
supposed to do a Cloud 19 variant until the summer. So we were like, well, we got to do another Cloud 19 here before we go into Meyer. That was the plan, at least. So let's kick out a variant now, and then surprise the people. And it's being very well received right now. For anybody that's actually had it, it's doing pretty well. A lot of good feedback.
I've seen a few places on Instagram that's the one that I saw that when you mentioned Cloud 19, it was year round. I was like, oh yeah, but now that you say pineapple, I think that's the one I've actually seen, a few stores posting about. So that is pretty exciting. That's pretty cool that you're, able to get ahead of schedule. And it's always fun when breweries release these kind of variants because, you get so used to not necessarily the same old, but that same, you go to it, it's a go-to. You can, every time you have it, it's, going to be the same. And then they release some, you release some variant, some twist on it. That's always fun for people to kind of go chase and see, if they can, oh yeah, I like this one better. I like I might like pineapple better. Or I might like the regular better, whatever other variant. I always think that's a pretty cool thing for us enthusiasts to kind of
Yeah.
chase after.
I think with this one too, even though it's a pineapple variant, we use real pineapple in it. You can still get that the base beer Cloud 19 flavor through it. The tropical fruit still comes through it. Aside from the pineapple, you still get a little bit of that mango, and you still get a hint of that white wine finish as well. For me, it goes the way it hits my palate is I'm going with it's hitting that tropical fruit first, and then I get the pineapple right there, and then I get the white wine finish, and it's still got that really I'd say lingering juicy finish for me, at least to where you're not getting a huge amount of bitterness, especially with this one.
I think it's going to be on my long, increasingly long list of beers to look out for when I can go and look for it. So we talked about it earlier. So you have curbside sales. I know that's a portion of what we as enthusiasts or anybody really watching this video can help contribute to you guys. But what are some other ways that enthusiasts or beer fans, craft beer fans can really help our local breweries, like Brew Detroit or just local breweries in general?
I know a lot of local breweries right now, they have either a donation button on their website, or you can call and put in a donation in. And then there's also the website that Nick from Nick Drinks put out that we just that I saw actually put out a while ago, and John mentioned in a conversation, John from Some Beer mentioned that, and I don't remember the name of it. It's definitely a tipping website. If you go to Nick's Drinks, I'm sure you can find it on there, to where there are local bartenders that have signed up for this, and you can go on there and tip them directly. That way, they're able to get a little bit something during this time, to where it will help them move things along, and at least. And in a way, keep you connected with your favorite bartenders and people, faces that you would normally see on a weekly, sometimes daily basis, depending on what you have going on. But yeah, it's just going there, supporting them, buying their food, get carry out, get to go beers, get your curbside beer. Go to their websites and donate. I know that we are very thankful at Brew Detroit, and as well as other breweries. It's pretty amazing. There's conversations, and I'm getting text messages from other people who work at other breweries, and they're saying, what are you guys doing? How are things being received? And obviously, people are staying as positive as they can. People have been laid off. There are, especially beer reps that are usually the people who are getting your favorite beers out to these restaurants and bars, that some of them are laid off because that's their main thing. And they're smaller breweries. They just their breweries don't have the cash flow to come in and keep them on board for right now. So it's really heartbreaking to see a lot of my friends going through that situation. Most of them are able to stay pretty positive. But in anticipation that they're going to be able to come back to a brewery that's operational when this is over.
Yeah, we weren't going to mention that we had a call that had some had some technical difficulties, but yeah, that website that you mentioned is gotip'em.com, and I'll leave a link below this video with the link to that website. You can go on there. It's like a database basically of different servers. If you see your favorite server is not on there and you have a way to contact them, let them know. They can put their name on there. I looked at it because there were a few from some local places that I frequent that weren't on there, and I'll let them know. But they put their name in there. They can put you can pay via PayPal or Venmo. The money seems like, or it looks like, it's going directly to that person because their ID is linked up to that. And they just put it in there. They put their PayPal information or their Venmo information, and you can send them money directly. So that's definitely really cool. That we can kind of, like you said, the people that are laid off because of this, the people that the sales reps that are out, because there's obviously not a lot of places that they can go, and we're trying to do this whole social distancing thing and make sure that they're safe too. I know for me, I'm working from home, and I'm lucky enough to be able to do that, but there's a lot of people that don't have that privilege. So is there anything else that you want to say, or anything else we can do to help?
I just want to say thank you to folks like you, folks like John at Some Beer that are keeping the conversation going while we're in this lull, making sure people know what they can do to help, even though most of them are already visiting their favorite bottle shops that are still open or their favorite breweries to grab stuff. So thank you to everybody who is continuing to support Michigan beer. Thank you to the people who are driving conversations and still talking about it. That helps big time to where it's still a conversation to have, and no other time is more important for everyone to support local stores, local restaurants and bars that are still able to move stuff and get them their sustenance, I guess.
Sustenance in a way, at least. Keep their sanity juice. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dave, thanks so much for your time. Dave Cicotte from Brew Detroit. I really appreciate it. We had a initial kind of snafu, I guess, with our previous recording, but I really appreciate your time. I know that, I just appreciate that you were able to make time to kind of talk about this. But as you guys, viewers out there that watch this, that I'm always talking about drink local, support your local breweries, drink craft beer. So that message hasn't changed. Double down if possible. I know that, a lot of people are out of work. But if you're able to, just anything that you can contribute really to your local breweries, to local craft beer, is greatly appreciated. So, until next time, thanks again, Dave.
You're welcome.
Sean from Draft Therapy. Signing off. Drink craft beer, support your local breweries, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.
Yep.